to an all-new edition of AD and DT featuring Athletics Director of LeMoyne College, Bob Beretta, and myself, Dan Tortora, aka DT. We're happy to be here with you on campus on the Heights here at LeMoyne College, right here in Syracuse, New York. Bob, as always, welcome.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. So, very excited. We have a lot of different topics to get into today, and all positives. A lot of great things coming up at LeMoyne. So we're going to hit it first and foremost with, I know the question that people have been asking. We've been chronicling for about half a year now, everything that, thanks to you and thanks to Dr. Linda Lemira and LeMoyne in general, anything with realignment and reclassification, you've sent through our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. So you can go back and watch all these videos on the LeMoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com and by subscribing to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and searching LeMoyne. So you see all the conversations we've had and every single piece of the way to where we are today. I've had some people ask, because I know the last couple of weeks it's been quiet, so would love to get any thoughts you have on reclassification realignment.
Surely, Dan, and it has been quiet. You know, we've done a tremendous amount of work over the past 6 months internally here on campus. Our committee met 27 different times, and right now the landscape nationally is quiet, so we've dialed things back a little bit. I'd say our committee work is almost done. It's nearing its conclusion. We're going to meet again in the middle of November and just exchange thoughts and monitor where things are at nationally. But I'd say from a LeMoyne standpoint, we're poised. You know, we're poised to move forward with the process once we feel like things are moving nationally. So we're just gonna kind of sit tight right now. We had a meeting with the Board of Trustees in October just to give the board an update on where things stood, the work of our committee. But of course, anything moving forward, our committee would have to get back together, reconvene, vote in favor of a recommendation to move this to the president, who would then have the agency to move it forward to the Board of Trustees. They would call a meeting and then discuss and ultimately vote on it. So we're in a holding pattern right now, and a lot of it is based on what's happening nationally.
Yeah, and you and I prognosticated this, right? That there was going to be a quiet period for reclassification, realignment. We talked about that months ago, and also, as you spoke about with the committee, getting together, giving their recommendation, bringing it to President Dr. Linda Lemira, and then her bringing it to the board. So none of that voting has happened yet.
Correct. And
so everything that we've told you about for the last couple months continues on here as we await those opportunities. And as I've said before, if and when those happen, you can be sure that they will be right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership on the Heights with LeMoyne College. With that being said, I have something to throw in here. I know that you, through LeMoyne, I have wonderful LeMoyne swag. And I look very well, especially when I'm traveling. I throw it on there. I bring it out to Magic Kingdom and to Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Epcot, people all over the world get to see the Dolphin. But I will say that I went over to the bookstore and cannot believe, and I did this silently right before my birthday, didn't tell anybody I was going. I was like, I'm gonna get myself a birthday gift. And I don't have a LeMoyne sweatshirt. So I went out and got one of the LeMoyne sweatshirts that's green and gold, just very, very nice. And then found like a hockey looking jersey that they had as well. So I'm decked out, I'm warmed up, and I've been rocking my LeMoyne sweatshirt. So I do want to shout out the bookstore, because you have a lot in there, and I've traveled to bookstores around the country. Some have like, oh, I can have that gray sweatshirt or that black one. I can have that hat or that hat. You have a lot in that bookstore, so I got to give you some credit for that.
Yeah, you know, it's run by our friends at Barnes & Noble, and we have some options in there. You know, it's a small space, but lots of gear in a small space. So, Again, we're trying to make the most of whatever we have, and you can get lots of Dolphin gear, lots of Dolphin swag out there, whether it's green, black, gray, white, but always with the Dolphin. And yeah, if you're around campus, swing by the corner there. It's right by the new Keenan Center for Entrepreneurism, and we have our bookstore still in that same location, and lots of great Dolphin gear available.
Yeah, and I got it. I preempted my birthday and got it so I can stay warm. So I got the sweatshirt now.
Excellent.
So good for games outside. And speaking of that, the soccer team continues. The men's soccer team continues inside of the NE-10, and they have a game today, as we're talking Wednesday, November 2nd. They have a game later on tonight in Garden City, New York, up against a team that they've already defeated in recent history here. And we got to see that right here at Ted Grant Field not too long ago. So very, very excited about what's coming up. 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You go to LeMoyneDolphins.com, click on men's soccer, and make sure that you follow along and watch this game. But I'm ecstatic for Tom Bonus. He was on the show yesterday giving his thoughts, and always love having it. And pun completely intended, it was a bonus Dolphin Dive episode, so I utilized that. And Tom and the team have been great. He spoke about the leadership and brought up a bunch of the guys, including Bryant Perdomo, who was my first Dolphin Dive guest here in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership, and a guest when he was at CNS. So shout out to local staying local. So I'd love to get your thoughts on the men's soccer team as they won their first game in the NE-10 playoffs, and they got another one coming up tonight at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, we're excited, Dan, as you can imagine, to reach the semifinals of really one of the top Division II men's soccer conferences in the country, and the women's Division II side as well. Both soccers in this conference extremely competitive, and as you stated, LeMoyne defeated Adelphi here at Ted Grant Field just a couple weeks back, handily, 3-0 victory, a 3-0 victory. Played extremely well, and I'm so proud of this team because we talk about teaching life skills and life lessons on the fields, on our athletic fields, and this team has learned how to deal with adversity throughout the season. We have 6 players out with season-ending injuries. I've never been around a soccer team that has suffered so many season-ending injuries, and we've just had player after player step up, fill new roles, offense to defense. We're on our 3rd center back. We have players that received limited minutes on the field for the majority of the regular season that are now receiving 75, 80, 90 minutes. So I'm very proud of their resilience, the resiliency, the tenacity that they displayed, the grit, all the things that we hope athletics instills in our young people. I think it's on display with our men's soccer team. So goalie Josh Marsh has been fantastic, local product, Fayetteville graduate, and he's been outstanding between the pipes for us. We hope that we can spill another upset here tonight at Adelphi. LeMoyne's the number 7 seed, and incredibly, Adelphi is the number 6 seed, and they beat the number 3 seed. But the standings were so tight in the Northeast 10, really from 2 to 8. Only a few points separated those different places. So we expected this to be a free-for-all. Franklin Pierce has had an outstanding season atop the standings as the regular season champion and the number 1 seed, but we knew getting to that final was going to be an opportunity for whoever was playing best at that moment in time, and the fact that we've reached the Final Four in this highly competitive league is a tribute to Coach Bonus and the leadership displayed by our young men.
And the next man up approach and that resiliency you spoke about, and knowing that LeMoyne came in as a 7 seed, beat a 2 seed to get to this next round. So like you said, seeding really doesn't matter. They say when you get to the postseason, no matter what sport it is, everybody's 0-0, and you get to duke it out and see what you could do. And some of these decisions in these games were so close. Remember that LeMoyne, because of the rules change, there's no extra periods in the regular season, so LeMoyne had 5 ties. And speaking with Coach Tom Bonus of this LeMoyne Dolphins men's soccer team this week, he said 3 of those 5 he considered to be really, really good. He's like, listen, we're the only blemish on Mercyhurst's schedule. We're a blemish to Franklin Pierce. So to do what he's done and to have this team perform the way they did and do it through injury, Terrence Chrysler-Howard, who's been on the show as well in Dolphin Dive, he had to sit out due to a concussion at a point this season. So we've seen these injuries, guys come back, and all this ebb and flow in different pieces of it. And to see those 5 ties that could have been decisions, right? If we had played these games through, and now we can see what's LeMoyne going to look like where there has to be a victor. Another new rule that Tom Bonus brought up, which is very nerve-wracking, like this past game. When you score in the first extra period, you have to play 2 extra periods.
That's right.
It's not like, pro soccer out there that we're seeing, like you're watching the World Cup and you score in the extra period, it's like, hey, okay, good job, and let's move on. But there is no sudden death. You have to play both extra periods. So LeMoyne scores with 1:18 left on a penalty kick, and then still has to play that final minute 18 plus 10 minutes, which is not right. So like
it's nerve-wracking.
It's very nerve-wracking. If you're the other team, it's great. But if you're in LeMoyne's case, you just are like, hey, we were up 2-0, then it's 2-2. Let's get out of here and call it a day. But credit to the defense and Josh Marr, who had, I believe, 4 saves in that second extra period. So.
Yeah, we were kind of hoping it was a golden goal situation after we scored that first goal in the first overtime. But again, another tribute to the grit and determination displayed by these young men.
Yeah.
Southern Connecticut scored the tying goal with 2 minutes left in regulation, and that can be crushing.
Yeah.
And, you know, our young men went out and fought and earned that penalty kick, and were able to convert that. Jack Goodrich scores the goal that puts us on top 3-2, and as you mentioned, then we have to go through another overtime period to survive that and get out of a place that was really difficult for teams to go in there and be successful. And in the regular season, we tied Southern Connecticut, and then, you know, just this weekend we go down there and get a huge win, a huge 7-2 upset in the NE-10 championship. So really proud of and excited about tonight's contest. And yeah, I don't want to say it's house money, but you know, I feel really good about how they've rallied. 7-5-5 going into this game, and very easily could be 10-3 on the season with a couple of ties. So they fought. They've displayed the spirit that we hope for all of our athletes here at LeMoyne, and hopefully they can get out of Garden City with another victory tonight.
Yeah, very excited for the game, and as we said, 3-0 against Adelphi here at Ted Grant Field less than a month ago. And so just a few weeks back, and now we get to see this matchup again, and make sure you go to LeMoyneDolphins.com to follow it closely in real time. As one season looks to continue into the postseason, we have seasons coming into fruition, and we know that LeMoyne men's basketball has found its way to the Dome in the last few years, and we know that after Steve Evans led a team into the Dome, Syracuse didn't want to play LeMoyne men's basketball. Well, now the women's basketball team is going to be in the Dome this week, and very excited about this. Thursday, November 3rd, we will see the women's basketball team led by Mary Grimes in her second season as a head coach in general and a head coach at LeMoyne. She will lead her Dolphins into the Dome. Felisha Legette-Jack made the phone call, and I spoke with Mary Grimes in the edition of Dolphin Dive just a couple weeks ago. You could definitely go back and check that out on the LeMoyne tab of wakeupcalldt.com with all of our coverage, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Had the opportunity to speak with Mary about it, and she said Felisha made the call, and she said sure. So we get to see LeMoyne and Syracuse in the Dome, but this time women's basketball, and I'm very excited as Felisha starts off her stint as the head coach of Syracuse basketball for the first time ever, and Mary, in a similar story, coming back to a program she knows all too well, and being a head coach here and doing that now for her second season after in her first season at LeMoyne making the tournament. So incredible to see these two wonderful women in the community go after it on Thursday.
Yeah, it's really historical, Dan, if you think about it. You talk about diversity and how important diversity is in all of sport, but here at LeMoyne, Mary Grimes is the first African American to serve as a head coach in any of the sports at LeMoyne. And now Thursday night, she's going to be going up head-to-head against someone who she knows really well, and Coach Jack, obviously African American as well. So I think that's historical from that perspective. But we're really excited to get the season started. We lost some tremendous seniors last year. That senior trio was tremendous, and you know, we feel like we've reloaded a little bit. We had a scrimmage this weekend against Geneseo, and Mary was really excited about the performance of her young kids. She's got a young nucleus that has come in here and really energized the program, and we do have a core of returning players that we feel really good about. So I think it's not like LeMoyne's going to sneak up on people. LeMoyne's had tremendous success under Coach Castelli and now under Coach Grimes, and I think in the preseason poll, LeMoyne's selected for third. Even though we lost such an incredible core to our program, I expected us to be farther down in the rankings. And I think that's a tribute to Coach Grimes and the continuity, her connection to to Gina Castelli, yet also the expectation of excellence in the program.
Yeah.
They expect there not to be a blip. There's going to be this continued excellence across the board. That's what we're striving for in all of our programs, and we feel like we're positioned really well to continue that excellence in women's basketball. Really excited to see it tomorrow night at the Dome. That's going to be a fun way to kick off the season, a great experience for the ladies in our program, particularly the freshmen, their first game in the Dome of their college, first game of their college career in the Dome,
Yeah.
and we'll see what happens. It's a talented team, we know that, but I expect our ladies to go in there and fight. And we're going to have a team send-off in the event center here, so anyone that would like to come out and help support and be part of that on Thursday, you're invited. We'll have some light refreshments, and our dance team will perform. Coach Grimes will speak, some of the players will speak, and then we'll send them out off onto the bus in rousing fashion as they head over to the Dome just a few miles down the road.
Yeah, very excited for that. And what time can people expect?
Yeah, that would be important if I included that. So our reception, our send-off will be from 4 to 5 in the event center lobby, and no admission, just come on out, be part of it, be part of this experience, this movement, and support our ladies as they head over to the Dome in what will be a historical matchup for our women's basketball program.
Yeah, very excited for Mary Grimes to have this, and 4 freshmen coming in and a transfer. So we're a lot of new faces to LeMoyne, some returning faces to LeMoyne, and we can expect this team to get after it because Mary and her coaching staff, Joanna Dabrowski, was just on the show. Coach Joe Dobro, as she calls herself. Coach Joe was on the broadcast as well in another edition of Dolphin Dive. So very excited about the energy that they bring and the seriousness and just everything that goes into it. I'm excited for this team. I have been a fan of LeMoyne women's basketball since I returned back to Central New York and met with Gina when Gina first came in. Mm-hmm. So I was with Gina sitting right outside of Ted Grant Court. It was a white circular table with the folding chairs, and she told me what she wanted to do and what she was hoping for. I remember that day, and I sat in the same room the day I met Bob Beretta, and I sat in that same room the day that I met Mary Grimes, and got to speak with them all. So there's something to be said about the Heights, something to be said about that lobby going into Ted Grant Court. A lot of history there for me personally, and very excited for the history that Mary is going to be able to have with this team.
Yeah, we're going to play a little different style of ball. You know, she's injected some more athleticism into the program. Mary wants to play a 5-out type of offense, so lots of threes. We feel like we have some players that can really dominate the perimeter and really get up and down the floor. So I don't want to mention any names. I'll leave that as a surprise for Thursday night. But we have some players when they're out there, you got to keep your eyes peeled because they're athletic. They're going to get up and down the floor. They're going to apply pressure, and they're going to shoot the 3-ball. So it'll be fun to watch. Yeah,
very excited for that. And final note, I know we've talked about the soccer team continuing on. We've spoken about basketball teams ushering in this season here. Excited for Nate Champion as well for the men's basketball program. And so we've talked reclassification, realignment. Any other notes you'd like to make?
You know, just we touched on women's basketball, and the men open up on the road the following weekend, which is the weekend of the 11th through 13th. I think our women are home on the 11th, and then again on the 13th, and our men are on the road that weekend at a St. Rose Invitational. But our men have gotten off to a great preseason start. Mm-hmm. They went to Mansfield a couple weeks back and dominated a scrimmage against Mansfield, and then hosted a really talented school out of Canada a week ago on Friday. And McMaster is a school out of Canada, and they had played Oregon really tough. I believe it was a single-digit loss to Oregon, and we went out and dominated that game. It was 20 points quick, and I think the final margin was 15 or 18 points, but we played really well. It's a fun team to watch. Coach Champion also has done a great job bringing in some direct talent, but did a great job introducing some players from the transfer portal, because we did lose some players from the portal, and some Division I talent out there, and then the development, the continued development, and more than anything else, the health of our returning players. We had several players last year. We were just ravaged by injuries, and now to see them healthy and a year older and a year stronger and a year more developed in this system, we're going to be fun to watch. Now, athleticism on the men's side, you're going to want to come out and watch us at Ted Grant Court, because we have some high flyers out there on the men's side.
Yeah, going to be a lot of fun, and I know Ted Grant Court all too well, so I look forward to seeing you in the stands for that and continue to support. And if you can make it out tonight to Garden City, go out and see the men's soccer team. I want to congratulate also the women's soccer team. These student athletes went through 3 coaches in a few weeks' time. It felt like just a few, like it was one to the other, and Jaro's not even close or even a thought last season. So I do want to thank Jaro for all the work that he's done, and knowing him beforehand with Syracuse FC and whatnot, very happy that he came here and that these women rallied together, and this team has been wonderful. I've gotten to meet a bunch of them, speak with a bunch of them, and I couldn't be more proud of the women's soccer team here at LeMoyne as well.
Yeah, I was so happy for them, Dan, and you mentioned we went right up until the last day of the regular season with a chance to play for a playoff bid, and we found out, unfortunately, before we got on the field last week against Pace, we had an evening game, but the results didn't fall in our favor, and we knew when we stepped on the field that we had been eliminated from postseason contention. But to be in that conversation on the last day of the regular season from where that program was in August without a leader and not knowing who was going to get us through the season, and to see how they developed and notched, I think, 5 wins overall and right in the thick of postseason contention until the very last day. Very proud of those young ladies. Again, talk about grit, talk about tenacity, resiliency, dedication, all those things. So really proud of how our individuals have performed on the athletics field this fall, and I think that the future is certainly bright for both of those soccer programs, and now with basketball season kicking off and our winter sports, our swimming programs going, it's an exciting time here at the Heights.
Absolutely, and a final note, the Fall Fins Frenzy went on as well, and we got to celebrate, and I know that I got to have some of my other partners here, which I'm very excited about, and got to see them out here. And it was a great day, a perfect day. It was the day after my birthday, October 22nd, and God cleared the skies, boosted up the heat outside, and it was great food, great atmosphere, great games, and ultimately just a wonderful day.
Yeah, it really was, and thanks to you, Dan, for helping arrange those partnerships here and bringing Carvel and PP&J's Lunchbox here on campus. It was a tremendous opportunity for our students, not just our student athletes, to get to have exposure to those great vendors and great people here serving the community. But it was a wonderful day, excellent results for us. Both the programs had the women had a tie that day against a team that was pretty sporty, and it was a well-earned tie, and the men with a big victory. So great day, great way to celebrate the fall, and hopefully we'll be able to build on that in the winter.
A lot of great stuff coming up on the Heights, and you can be sure it'll be here first. For AD and DT, Athletics Director Bob Beretta of LeMoyne College, myself, Dan Tortora, aka DT, proud to be here with you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And as you know, every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time is Dolphin Time. First and third Wednesday, AD and DT. Second and fourth, the Dolphin Dive, with stories from coaches, administration, student athletes, future Dolphins, and alumni. So we look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Come send off the women's basketball team to the Dome this Thursday, tomorrow, November 3rd, from 4 to 5 p.m. And as always, Bob, fins up.
Fins up, Dan.
Talk with you soon.